Coming up in this episode, we look at the 9 Super League clubs who will be affected with the disciplinary issues fallout from round 1. There's up to 11 players looking at bans. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also please click that notification bell for any updates on new videos that may be coming in the near future. So as the Sting said at the beginning, we're going to have a quick look into all the disciplinary shenanigans and the outcomes of tribunals. Because we've had 13 cards over the weekend, there'll be possibly 9 that have received suspensions already, 2 that went to tribunal, with 2 avoiding any instance. But we'll talk about that in a few moments, as a few players have come out, as well as Tiger's director of rugby, for some clarification when it comes to the rules, and also looking at 2025 as well, as there's some trepidation about the rule changes that are coming that way. And at the end, we're going to have a look at what rules will be included in the World Cup Challenge game on Saturday night. Sorry about the glasses being like this, but if I don't, you've got a reflection of everything that I'm seeing. I don't want to reveal my sources. Despite the fantastic positivity that came from the round 1 of games, which had everything for the Rugby League fans to sink their teeth in, with red cards, yellow cards, fantastic tries, close games, heart and soul shown on their shirt and their sleeve when it comes to performances, the old adage when it comes to disciplinary harsh calls and everything like that is being again given a scrutiny, when some decisions have been described as subjective by some corners of the fan club, fans, supporters side, where players are feeling a little bit of disillusion with some of the actual rule changes, despite their acknowledgement that they are needed for player welfare concerns. As I said, there was 13 cards, 13 disciplinary actions issued out for the RFL to look into. While 9 have already received bans, 2 have been subject to the tribunal, with 3 of them, 3 of these suspensions that have been called out, looking to be more 4 games or more. Those players are Michael McAloran, Liam Watt and Franklin Pella for their red cards during their opening games. Hull FC are the obvious one that should be worried about losing 3 players due to their 2 red cards and 1 yellow card against LKR, with Manessa, Franklin Pella as mentioned, and Lee Sau all facing the discipline draft. While on the other side of the city, Matt Parcell will be subject to a discipline charge due to his, shall we say, sin binning during the Hull derby. Lee Leopards have a pair as well, with John Asiata and Ricky Luatello for professional fouls and headshots, receiving yellow cards respectively, with the latter being threatened with a more pressing discipline concern. The Rhinos will have Paul Momorowski under the scope, while Salford Red Devils lost Ryan Briley and Emma Burrows to yellow cards, with Momorowski and Briley looking nervously at the discipline panel due to high tackles themselves. Jordy Crowther was on the other side of the Catalans for Warrington and faced a yellow card for head of the contact, but with much less force due to according to the gradings. While we all know about what's controversial sending off in the game against Wigan, there's also worries on the Wigan side for Cade Ellis and Harry Smith ahead of their World Cup Challenge. Smith's one caught the ire of one Huddersfield Giants forward Luke Yates, who had issued a plea for clarification for those running Rugby League's disciplinary procedure following a controversial set of findings from the match review panel, and says that remaining silent is no longer an option. He is currently serving a 3-match ban with regards to the new Super League season following a tip tackle in a pre-season friendly against the Tigers. However, he took to Instagram to highlight what he believed was a lack of consistency in the process, citing 2 incidents involving Wigan duo Adam Kieran and Harry Smith. Kieran had a similar looking offence to what he was found guilty for, Yates during Warriors pre-season hit up against Hull FC, while Smith was sin-binned on Saturday in the victory against Castleford for a similar challenge on Tigers' Luke Hooley. Yates was quick to stress that he felt neither incident merited a suspension, but instead pointed out his own case and subsequent ban even, as to the frustrations he has at the minute with the process. He said on Instagram, "I'm not trying to speak for all players in the Super League, but consistency from the disciplinary panel would be very much appreciated. I'm in no way saying that the first 2 clips of the tackles that he shows on Instagram should receive a punishment, but the best Super League players need to be on the field throughout the season, and Harry and Adam is absolutely deserved to play in the World Cup Challenge this weekend. I'm simply asking for clarification on why I received a fine and a 3-match ban for tackling a player who then lands on his back. For the first 2 clips, they didn't receive a suspension. I wouldn't usually speak up on situations like this, but being silent on the issue isn't an option." This was followed up by Oliver Russell as a response to Luke Yates' post by saying, "Maybe they gave you the 3-game ban for the game being filmed on a Nokia." Sympathetic as always, Rugby League players, eh? Strong wording came out from Castleford as well, as they have responded to What's His Challenge with Director of Rugby Danny Wilson, issuing a statement saying they want to get their house in order, and to do that they need a meeting with the relevant authorities to understand how and why charges are graded the way they are. He said, "I think you could see everybody in the game's reaction to Liam Watts alone. At the end of the day, people make mistakes, players make mistakes, match officials make mistakes, and you can only live with that if it sits with that game. When it goes to the match review panel, it gets graded in a way in comparisons to other instances over the weekend. We're left a bit confused, so we need to get our house in order pretty quickly. To do that, we need some explanation of why they are graded the way that they are. We asked for an urgent meeting with the powers that be for some explanation." Meanwhile, head of Rugby League Director of Operations and Legal Robert Hicks has spoken out to attempt to apply context to the significant number of bans handed out following the opening round of the season. He said the number of yellow and red cards shown in the opening round of the Betfred Super League has already become a talking point. Doubtless, the number of charges arising from the match review panel meeting will be similar. But it's important to provide some context. Of the 13 cards shown, 10 of the instances would have led to cards being shown under the framework that applied in 2023. One area which we made a difference is in head-on-head contact, and the responsibility of attacking the player in this area. Just as the sport should be grateful to the commitment of the match officials and the match review panel in implementing changes at such a pivotal period of the sport, we will also reiterate our gratitude to clubs, coaches and players for their positive approach over the recent months. It was a highly successful opening round of the Betfred Super League fixtures, and it is right that the focus has already turned into round 2 of matches and also Betfred World Club Challenge. One less than shrinking violet when it comes to Rugby League challenges, Alex Walmsley, who gives and receives them with massive relish, has talked to Rugby League Live to write an article in regards to players' disgruntlement when it comes to the changes, whether it be in 2024 or the new ones in 2025, where players will not be able to tackle above the armpit rate area of a player. Speaking to Rugby League Live in his column, like everyone else, I'm excited for the new season, that the new season is here, he said. It feels like an exciting time for the sport with IMG, the new broadcast deals, and the positivity that currently surrounds our great game. However, from a player perspective, I have concerns about some of the developments we are seeing in our sport, and from speaking with to other players, I know that they feel the same way. This season we've seen more changes to the rules. We are speeding up the ruck, policing correct play the balls, and having harsher punishments for high tackles. Rules I think you could argue are in proportion and will improve the game. But from next year, the recommendations is that at all levels of the game, players will have to tackle on or below the armpit area. If this is followed through, players across the game, including Super League and Championship, will have to completely change their tackle technique, which will in turn alter the look of the sport for the spectators. We will also be playing to a completely different set of rules to those enforced in Australia and New Zealand. An understanding is that the NRL will have no intention of following us. The NRL clubs and players believe that the current rules on tackle height and therefore tackle technique and game management work perfectly well and show the sport off in the best possible light. Consequently, if the Rugby Football League's recommendations are followed through, we would have to revert back to the present rules for international and World Cup Challenge matches, placed us in a serious disadvantage. Walmsley went on to speak about the players not having a voice that could dictate some of the discussion in the players' favour, and it was from a conversation back in 2019 with Clint Newton, the Chief Executive of the Rugby League Players Association back in Australia. Gave him a green light bulb moment that Rugby League players in the Northern Hemisphere should be looking at a collective bargaining agreement when it comes to Rugby League players forming a union. He spoke passionately to the players, Walmsley said, about setting up a similar union to the one in Australia, and showed the players what needed to be done. And though it was never followed through, said that the blueprints are there for the players to follow. Speaking about the options available to players, Alex Walmsley continued that every other major sport has a strong players' union, and you only have to look at the RLPA from what they managed last year with the NRL players with collective bargaining agreement to see the benefits they bring, not only for the players but for the sport as a whole. Our players currently can join the GMB union, but the GMB is not rugby league specific, so there is an understandable lack of buy-in, and the fact that the GMB is not controlled by the players for the players in the same way that the RLPA is. Our players become frustrated when they have a strong view on certain issues that will benefit the game, but have no proper forum at which to debate them and form a collective opinion. Player welfare is a buzzword in our sport, but what will be said if the international games are played to a different set of rules next year when Australia are due to, well, England are due to soar Australia. Is player welfare only a priority at the domestic, not at the international level? As players, we have been committed to the sport and the proof is there. We do more than our fair share, so I think that at least we deserve is a more input and a voice when the game is making significant changes. After all, we, as much as anyone, want to see our game prosper. Alex Walmsley understands what could be the benefits of a player union when, as the RLPA were able to negotiate a better benefits package for injured or retired players, as well as their existing members. As Walmsley has played with double fractures in his neck before, and also suffered from concussions and plenty of injuries, at both a physical and non-physical point. He knows that he's at an age when he's not going to benefit from a strong players' union akin to the RLPA, but it does care about the younger players within the game. He has young club mates like George Delaney, Morgan Knowles and Jack Wellsby at his club that could benefit from a strong union and have input in the future development of the sport. He feels very passionate about it. He talks to the newspapers to make this all. But what do you think? Should there be a strong rugby league's union? I do too, all to a point, because in this instance, when it comes to the rules of the game, it should be a clean sweep, and it should be done at international level. And international bodies should be the top rule makers. That's my thoughts on it. We're going to have an international game to help the game grow worldwide and get that international appeal rather than at club level, which for Australia, with their billions and their attractiveness when it comes to TV deals, they are looking at that game, so they are going to be looking at club level. Others have to come together as a collective when it comes to club level, league level, or even player level to even match Australia, so their finances are above and beyond. It can be a union in the UK, but when it comes to rule changes, it should be one rule across the board that everyone should take on. Yes, there's certain leeway to adapt, like in other sports, for one federation to another, but it's basically a clean across the board level when it comes to the rules. I think that's more to do with the laws of each land when it comes to the little tweaks and why they're allowed those little tweaks, so I can say that's the reason. But Australia are doing it right, and they keep benefiting, and they're looking after the players, and they're paying the players very, very well. Of course, they're going to have their interests with their stakeholders when it comes to TV and everything like that. So here we go, a quick rundown of those suspensions that have come out of the match review panels and the independent tribunals. Starting off with Castleford Tigers. Liam Watt has been hit with a 4-match ban as his appeal was denied, and he received a £750 fine as well. His Castleford Tigers teammate Chapel Tassipale had a 1-match ban for a dangerous contact and also received a £250 fine. There was 2 for Catalan's Dragons as well. Michael McAlorum and Paul Seguer were both banned. Michael McAlorum received 4 match fees and also a £750 fine as he was unsuccessful in challenging his Grade E head contact in the Saturday game against Warrington Wolves. In the same game, Seguer saw his Grade D head contact charge downgraded to a C on appeal. He was fined £250 for that instance. 3 players carded at the Hull derby for Hull FC will receive bans as well. Franklin Pele misses 3 matches after being dismissed in the opening round as he was graded a E rating for his head contact charge. He was also fined £750, while Ligisao was banned for 1 match due to his grade D contrary behaviour charge being graded a B instead for Bravo. The players were charged £750 and £250. The other man, Herman Esse, was given a grade D rating for his head contact charge and received a 2-match ban. 3 players out for Hull at this critical start of the season. The Robins' Matt Parcell was banned for 1 match for a grade B other contrary behaviour charge, which wasn't appealed, so he would sit out the next game. Lee Leopards were surprisingly hit by 4 cases that were deferred by a week, as they do not have a game at this weekend due to the Wigan game being against Penrith Panthers. Tom Amon was given a 2-match ban for a head contact grade C charge, while Jack Hughes was given a grade B dangerous tackle charge. £250 fine was sufficient for him. Ricky Luatelli was given a grade C 1-match ban, and Zach Hardacre a dangerous contact grade B £250 fine. In the game between Leeds and Salford Red Devils, it was only Salford Red Devils' Ryan Briley who was hit with any sort of punishment for his tackle in the game. Palmer Moravsky was let off, while Briley will be available for the next game as his grade C head contact charge was downgraded to B on appeal. However, he will have to pay a £250 fine. And the final case to answer was Geordie Crowther for the Warrington Wolves, as his other contrary behaviour charge was given a grade C rating and he will miss 1 match. Got that out of the way. Hopefully there'll be less to talk about when it comes to bans after round 2. But during round 2 there is something called the World Club Challenge, and a match that's played at the DW Stadium between Wigan Warriors and Penrith Panthers, the 2 premiers from the north and south, to see who's the best club team in the world. It's a sold out affair at Robin Park, as the sold out billboards went up weeks ago due to the popularity and the demand for tickets. There has been some clarification, as Penrith Panthers were looking to see what rules will be played for the World Club Challenge game. It is going to be international rules, so that means the head contact laws that came in for the 2024 season have been relaxed for this one-off game. This was because the Panthers had a sit-down with a senior RFL referee on Tuesday during a training session at Warrington Wolves, and reiterated to Penrith that they need not be subjected to the new tightening of the rules seen in this country, meaning that essentially the rules will be relaxed for Wigan Warriors this week. It means the Super League champions will now face 3 different opponents under 3 different sets of rules. Well, 2 really, but new rules, all international rules against Penrith, and then Huddersfield next week, back to the new rules. With that, there has also been a definitive answer when it comes to the international rules. There's no captain's challenge included in the match, which the clearing his teammates are fully experienced for, and the Rugby League World Cup saw it in 2022. The international rules mean the same regulations for the use of the 18th man, which has been introduced in the RFL competition this season, but the laws related to the ball steal in the tackle will be as in the NRL, allowing one-on-one ball steal to occur if the additional tacklers drop off the tackle. So multiple men could go into the tackle, and as long as there's only one left, one-on-ones can occur. So those are the rule changes coming out for the Saturday's game, which I'll be watching on TV, unfortunately, as I wasn't able to get a ticket. It's going to be a hell of a affair. Who's going to win? Comment in the comment section below. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we end the episode there. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide, as well as clicking on that notification bell for any updates on new videos that may be coming your way in the near future. Tell me what your thoughts are on all these incidents and news reports in the comment section below, and tell me, as I said, who's going to win the World Cup Challenge. I know I'm going to be shouting for Wigan, but don't mind the Penrith team. They've always been very, very good. Well, the last 3 years, definitely. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video worldwide. And I'll end the episode as you always do by wishing you all the very best. Please stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Best shot face that I've seen.